Now for reception, it was wet. Alright guys, so welcome back to my channel. Let's get into my January events. So my first event was on Saturday, January the 6th. I was recommended from Terrell's birthday. I don't know if you guys remember from my video last month. It was at the exact same place out in Summerlin. It's this little clubhouse they had, except this time they had me located on the opposite end of the venue. We had people from their 50s, 60s, and 70s there, so I had to throw a lot of throwbacks, a lot of funk, 70s, 80s, and they for sure love that classic rock. So for the first hour, I did treat it kind of like a cocktail hour, so I kind of threw some more slow classic rock songs and some slow pop to kind of just set the mood for the first hour since the guests were starting to arrive. At first, it was a little bit hard to get people to start dancing, but Susan grabbed a couple of guests and went over to the dance floor and they started kind of dancing away. From there, I just built on up until I believe like an hour and a half in. Then afterwards, we did sing Susan her happy birthday. Her husband grabbed the microphone and gave a couple of thanks, including myself, which I was actually surprised. And afterwards, they cut the cake. And then from there was really no dancing. Everyone just kind of started treating it like a cocktail. It was good to see that they had a nice little dance session for that hour and a half right before that cake cutting. So to continue, my second event of the month was at the Garden on Thursday, January 11th. This time it wasn't the regular industry nights. They wanted to change it up, and they changed it up to a burlesque show called Taste Thursdays. So the previous week, I did receive a bunch of emails with everyone's music. They sent me an order list, so I made sure that I had everything in order going into the event. That way I was well prepared to make sure there were no mix-ups on anyone's music. Since it was the first night, both myself and the venue were kind of testing out the waters. They wanted me to kind of have it like a loungy feel, so I did play not crazy party music, but more of a loungy kind of vibe. And I also asked them too what they wanted me to play afterwards. And they said it was kind of up to me. I would kind of see what the vibe was. If there was more of a party vibe, I would switch it up and put some more, party stuff. If not, I would just keep it kind of loungy, just mid vibes. I unfortunately can't show you too much of the footage just because I'm afraid I'm gonna get flagged by YouTube. They did have a lot of pole performances. I don't want to say stripping because they weren't stripping necessarily. They were kind of just showing more of that pole performance, which a lot of these peeps had a lot of upper body strength in order to do the stuff that they were doing, because it was incredible. I did open up the dance floor. I opened it with a couple bangers just to test the waters and see where everyone was at, and people were vibing. So then I just amped it up and just played more party stuff towards the very end of the night. All right, so my next event was on January the 14th, my first wedding of 2024. So this wedding was at Wedgewood, and it was for Mr. and Mrs. Pack. For this wedding, I was in charge of their ceremony, cocktail, and reception. So this couple actually gave me a playlist. I went through their playlist and kind of built my set around it. They did have a lot of country pop, like 2000s pop, some like classic rock here and there, and then some Latin as well. So on the 18th, I was back at the Garden for my Industry Thursday residency. Nothing really eventful happened. I did go on Instagram Live, so if you guys want to go ahead and see me live, don't forget to check out my Instagram. My next event was on Saturday the 20th. I was in charge of their ceremony, cocktail, and all of reception. This was a personal booking, so I brought all of the equipment for this event. So I checked the weather app the day before, and it looked like it was gonna rain that day on the 20th. So I still accounted for like if it was gonna rain, just so I can be, better prepared and kind of safe. Now, I don't know about you guys, but in our contracts, we do have a clause that says that if it does rain, that they're in charge of making sure that we have covering or just are safe from, or out of the rain. So the good thing is that we were inside a tent. So whether or not it rained, we were going to be good. I don't know if you guys have any clauses like that in your contract about, you know, it raining or spontaneously raining. But again, we touched base with them and they said we were going to be under the tent anyway. So we were good. All bases are covered. It started off in the ceremony. Right before the ceremony, it kind of started to drizzle. And then I mic'd up the pastor and it started to drizzle even harder. The good thing was that we were already set up. Right before it even started raining, we were set up, made sure we had a stable connection. There was no chance of rain or water seeping into our equipment or even touching, you know, any electrical wires, because, you know, that would be really, really bad. The ceremony was great. Everything went well. They did have their own band on the side that were playing the church related music. All I had to really worry about was the grand entrance song and the grand exit. That was it. After the ceremony was done, I proceeded to invite the guests over to cocktail, which was also under like a big covering that was built into the house. Now during the cocktail hour, it started to rain even more, like pretty hard. You can hear it on the roof and on the roof of the tent. Love of all Alba had her cousin perform a couple of songs and I was blown away by his amazing voice. Now for reception, it was wet everywhere besides the tent, inside the tent and where we were at, where the dance floor was at and where the people were sitting for dinner. Everything else was wet. It was just drenched.
Y antes que nada, quiero agradecer a todas las personas aquí presentes y por favor si pueden poner atención. Primero tenemos a Eli Elizabeth, la hermana de Alba, ya que va a decir unas palabritas, así que fuerte el aplauso para Eli esta noche.
Me siento muy feliz y orgullosa en este día tan especial para los novios y para nosotros también.
The groom Tony was a very big fan of the 80s and 80s music, so I decided to invite my uncle, DJ Sapotec, to come and throw a special set for him. I'm glad that they had fun. I'm glad that we were under the tent. I'm glad that we have that clause in our contract. I'm glad that the people that contracted us took really great care of us. So it was an awesome party. If not, we would have been in a really bad situation. So the Taste Thursdays went really well. They decided to do a second show, which was my next event on Thursday, the 25th. So they decided to do kind of what they did last time, the two sets. The host opened, then they had performers, and then I threw a like quick 15-minute set. They started with performers and then the host closed off the night. And then after the performers, I opened up the dance floor. I tried again throwing bangers since I saw that worked 2 weeks ago. So I decided to continue with that to get people to stay for the rest of the night. So for actual DJ events, that was pretty much it. That was all of my January DJ events. However, there's obviously some office stuff, some behind the scenes that I also do that sometimes I don't even record for it. But on the 30th, I did meet up with DJ LV Speed to kind of go over some business stuff. So we did have a quick meeting and kind of just went over some business stuff that we kind of needed to go over, you know, starting off the new year, kind of our goals and, you know, kind of some things that we want to get done this year. So after that, we went to Wedgewood since they were having kind of like an open house. They called it their spring extravaganza. Both LV DJ Speed, myself, and DJ Murph were there. We were one of their DJs, so we wanted to kind of say hi and meet all of our brides for this 2024 that is coming up. So the brides are able to kind of interact with the vendors, or if they had any questions for the DJs, we were there. And we were there for 2 hours from 4:30 to 6:30. So the next day on the 31st, I was scheduled to do a Twitch live stream on our MDJs or Meadows DJs channel. If you guys don't follow us, don't forget to follow us on that Twitch. I did kind of procrastinate. I downloaded my music like 2 hours right before my set, kind of downloaded it all, get that ready, and then threw it on my laptop, created a folder, and threw that 2-hour set on our Twitch channel. So starting off this 2024, I decided to do something new. I decided to kind of play video games. And what better way to do it as I check out new music. So I decided to do a New Music Monday stream on Twitch every Monday from 9 p.m. Pacific to 1 a.m. But that was pretty much it. That was all I was up to this January. I know January is kind of a slow month for just everyone in general, and specifically the wedding industry and especially DJs. But I try to keep myself busy and then obviously set myself some goals for me to do. It's kind of like a great time for, to establish everything and get everything ready for the rest of the year. So other than that, that was all of my January. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next month. Gajvik out.